Good morning. Good morning. Jab of Delight will uplift you. Stay tuned. The show is about to begin. Grab your coffee. Stay tuned. This show is about to begin.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and thank you for tuning in to the Delight Cafe. This is Java Delight, a shot of Java to get you going in the morning with a dose of delight. I want to thank everybody for being here today. As you can see, I am not standing like I usually do. I am sitting down. I want to be very raw and honest with everybody right off the bat. So I, as everybody knows, suffer from mental health issues, and I have been on medicines and all these other things. And then last couple weeks, right before Halloween, my meds they weren't able to fill the prescription in time. So I went from an extremely heavy dose of medication to nothing. And then they want me to go right back on it. And truth be told, guys, I'm hurting. I'm hurting badly. My stomach's a mess. I want to just sleep all the time. It's triggering depression in me. And I'm probably going to be bouncing in and out of the show. I'm having a hard time paying attention to things. And I just want to be honest with everybody, because no matter who we are, we have to be upfront. We have to be honest. And we have to be loving. And you have to show respect to people. And that, for me, this is me showing up because I respect the fuck out of all of you guys. I appreciate the hell of who you guys are. And I couldn't be here without you guys. So thank you all for being here and being with us and loving us. Thank you. So big hug to my man, Kevin. Thank you, brother. Love you, my man. So moving into the next phase, my name is Brandon Croucher, and I am with the one, the only, the queen of South Africa, Miss Ilse. How are you, sweetheart?
Good morning. I am hot and bothered. It is scorching hot here today, so all I'm gonna do is complain about the weather.
I am hot and bothered, as all I heard. I'm like that's not something you hear every day. I'm hot and bothered, and then you're like, oh, it's the weather though. It's not like my man or my significant.
Yeah, it's the weather. There's nobody else that makes me hot and bothered.
That's funny. There's nobody else that makes me hot and bothered. That's funny. Oh, I hear you and I talking again. There we go. That was my fault. I had the background noise kick in. Oh, man. So talk to me. What are your plans for today? What are you up to today?
I'm gonna try and catch up on some sleep because I need to be at the lawyer tomorrow morning extremely early. To do my final papers for my divorce, and then it's Wednesday and I'm thinking of getting day drunk. So anybody want to join me? I'm gonna get day drunk tomorrow.
I like how you're putting that. You're like, it's Wednesday, I'm gonna go get day drunk. I'm like, all right, hey, you do you, boo-boo. I got you. I understand. I'm glad you're having a good time with that. Like, you do your day drunky thingy majiggy. So
it's only because of the divorce. I don't drink, but that warrants a big drink.
Just like
3 years.
Oh, just like the devil dogs. The devil dogs down there. The minute his divorce got final, we had nothing but cheers for him. We've all been in that situation. Anybody that's gotten a divorce, you know what it's like to have that celebration at the end of just a fight that seems to just always fight. Like I got tired of mine when my divorce was going on. But you know what? Once you get through it, put that positive energy there, put it towards it, and guess what? You're going to be able to build a best you. I saw the devil dog has a new girlfriend, and I'm really happy for him there. He's all like whoop, whoop, posting it all over social media.
Congratulations.
Yeah. So what did you get into last night, Miss Ilse? Did you like party it up last night because you know your divorce is coming to a final?
No, I didn't. I'm not a big drinker, so I'll keep the drinking till one day. Um, I actually tried to sleep last night, which it didn't work. 3 o'clock this morning, I was still awake and not tired that I want to fall asleep. My brain was just going. I was on TikTok till 3 o'clock this morning. Eventually, I told myself just try and sleep. So eventually, I fell asleep, and 6:30 I woke up again, and I couldn't sleep further. And it was already hot and it's stuffy and everything. So I just thought, let me just get up and give it
Yeah.
up for a bad job. We're not sleeping today, so we're gonna try and get into bed early tonight. And Alri is coming home.
Okay,
So
you said we're. I'm like, are you and El Ray getting into bed together? Like, I don't know who you're going to bed with. Like, we're trying to go to bed
I'm
early.
single. I can get into bed with absolutely anybody from tomorrow.
Anybody, anywhere, anytime. Elsa's going to be partying it up. She's like, I could go everywhere. I'm going to fuck the sharks. I'm going to fuck the giraffes. I can fuck who I want to. So fuck you. Brett's in the back just shaking his head. He's like, already. Wow. So Elsa, do me a favor. You ready? Watch this. So if you go to Delight's Digital Cafe on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, anything, do not hesitate to do us a favor. Hit that like button, share button, love button. If you have other contacts, don't forget to switch it over to them and give that a like as well, because the only way we change the world is with individuals like you bringing about the positivity that we show up to try to bring. So share to public story. Boom. There we go. Shared. Saw how easy that was. Did it live on air. Thank you guys. So Ilse, you and I have been working a lot lately. Yesterday, you and I worked on sales. Yesterday, you and I worked on building up a better future for ourselves by talking about ways we can build things up. So tell me, how are you feeling as an individual that's building up her best future? Are you feeling more confident in yourself? Are you seeing a difference in what you're doing?
I am. I'm very excited for the future. I sent my visa agent email and asked her how long after I get my visa can I buy my airplane ticket, and she said the visa takes about 10 days. So if I go if I go for my visa on the 25th, I should have it by no later than the 5th of February, and then I can buy my ticket. So I'm excited for everything to happen. I've got my friend landing on Wednesday, 2 of my friends landing on Wednesday. So this last couple of weeks in South Africa is going to be very busy, just sorting out the final things and spending the final time with my kids and spending as much time with my kids as I possibly can. So I'm excited. I'm excited for the next chapter before I get on the plane. I've been working hard, and again, I just want to thank you guys for the opportunity and just
You've been
being
doing
in
great.
the middle of my manifestations. Isn't it awesome?
It is. Like, honestly, you have been working insanely hard. You are an amazing individual, and I know it's hard for you at times. It is hard to be able to keep putting a best foot forwards when, truth be told, there's a lot of times where it feels like all of us want to just be like, F it, I'm done. I don't want to help people. I don't want to do anything. But the thing is, once you do that, you're only hurting yourself, because then you're killing another example of good energy that you could be putting out there, good people you could be putting out there. And I just warped to a different show. What? Sorry, Devil Dog made a comment that threw me off. I was like, what? I'm not sure what happened, but I just warped to a different show. I wonder what show you went to. Was it as good as ours?
Midget porn.
Oh, was it? Devil Dog, are you watching midget porn while you're supposed to be spreading delight? Maybe that's what they call the midget.
But
it's not the
little delight.
She's the dose of delight.
Like individual.
Oh, Mama G. I was here early, then got distracted by lessons. Good morning, all. Good morning, Mama G. Good morning, Mr. Stuart Lone Wolf. Good morning, Kevin. Oh, excuse me. I'm sorry. Good morning, Ilse. I think that was everybody.
Ilse.
So, oh man. So, Ilse, I'm gonna have Brett step in for a second. And wait, what? It was a show with me, but with a different name. So you knew it was me because of the reflection, like the beard, or was he loud and obnoxious like me, and that's why? I don't know.
All of the above.
All of the above. Love it. I'm going to bring Brett in for a second, and I will be back. My stomach and this medicine is not working well. Ilse, you're in charge.
Yes. What are we doing, guys? The boss is not here. What do you want to do? What do you want to talk about? Your
Ilse's
choice.
in charge.
We can do whatever we want. I did not swear yet. I'm saving that one. I'm saving it.
So hot and bothered down there. How hot is it down there right now?
It is 33 degrees Celsius, and it's 5:15. So it was about 35 today, 35 or 36.
So over 100 degrees Fahrenheit. Yeah.
Yeah, and there is a little bit of a wind, but even the wind is hot. So it's not helping at all. It's really not helping at all. Are we going to party naked? Whoop, whoop.
At 100 degrees, you got to.
It's winter in America, so I don't know how you guys are going to party naked, but I'm up. Let's party.
I just got back from South Dakota, and up there it's a little bit colder than it is here in Vegas. So we were getting up in the morning, and it was about 0 degrees Celsius, maybe 3 degrees at the most.
That is cold.
So it was chilly in the morning, and by the afternoon, some of the days it was back up to like 20 degrees. So not so bad. And
it's only autumn now. It's only winter from next month, eh?
Well, November is really kind of, toward the end of autumn. The trees in a lot of places already lost all their leaves. And up there, the trees were changing colors, were pretty much done changing colors, and just falling out of the tree. I was in, they have a hot spa, natural spa up there, and it's outdoors. So you're out in the water, which can be 100 or 35 degrees Celsius, nice and warm, and you're out there. And then there's some pools that are a little bit less, but you can look up, and I was amazed. I was talking to people, and all of a sudden it started raining leaves, and it was just absolutely gorgeous being in this crystal clear, big pool of water. And then you just see these leaves raining down. It was amazing. My friends were watching me as I saw it behind them before they knew what was going on. They're like, I just was talking to Brett, and all of a sudden he's like, and I saw this, and it was just magical. And that's why, just another reason why I'm so excited about moving up there.
So when's the big move?
Well, it is going to be between probably the 1st and the 15th of December, because we got an offer in on a bar. So buying a bar up there, it's going to be the nicest bar in Hot Springs. And it's got 3 Airbnb apartments above it, and like a pool table room, a dining room area. And it's just, it's not what I intended on buying when I went out there. I went out there to buy a hotel and came back with a bar.
Came home with a bar. Typically, man.
Well, it was weird.
House and he comes home with a bar.
The hotel, I had a maximum price that I was willing to bid at the auction. By the time the auction went to the live auction, it was already over what I was looking at. And I had about 10 other people there with me. as we were kind of a group, and they called us what they call us, like the Vegas Mafia or something. So they kept looking at us like, "Are you going to bid? Are you going to bid?" And I was like, "No, you are." They sold it for twice what I was going to buy it for.
What?
And it was
That's
to somebody
insane.
who never saw it.
Guys got too much money if you buy things that you haven't seen yet.
There's
What
a
bar?
ton of money up there. So
What bar
So-
are you buying? What's the bar's name?
the bar's current name is Bourbon County.
Okay.
And the abbreviation there is BC, Brandon Croucher.
Say again.
The abbreviation Bourbon County is BC, Brandon Croucher. You know, Brandon Croucher.
If that's not
hey,
a sign, then
something
I
here.
don't know.
So, and then I was thinking, okay, since it says BC, Brandon Croucher, we should maybe call it Brandon Country, and then go, let's go, Brandon.
Let's
We got
go.
everything that we need in order to be able to have our own free advertising. So, yeah, we were going to call it a speakeasy because it is currently entitled Speakeasy, but I think we're going to be going more along the lines of a saloon. And there's a river that runs right in front of it. It's contained, in these, kind of a concrete so that it doesn't flood, but it actually is a river that originates from hot springs. So the river, even in the middle of the winter, at that point, the river is still about probably 25 degrees Celsius, or about 85 degrees Fahrenheit.
Okay.
So in the wintertime, mist comes off of the river because it's so warm compared to the outside area. So we're probably going to be calling it Misty River Saloon.
I like that. But now I want to ask you, now that you bought the bar and not the hotel, how did your plans for the leadership thing change? How did your plans change, and what are you going to do now?
Well, the leadership thing, I gave my name to the listing agent for the hotel, the auctioneers, and said, give my name to the people that just bought it. I'm still interested in really doing my leadership retreat out of there. But what it does is that I'm going to focus on foot in the door, living up there, but then I'm going to focus on the original building that I found, which is like a castle. It looks like a castle. And so, but that's about a 3 to 4 year project to be able to take it from its current state to where it needs to be.
And can you start the leadership academy while you guys upgrade, or do you need to finish it first?
I really would need to do the leadership academy out of something that's somewhat temporary, but maybe there's a way to do it. Well, once I get up there and get a chance to really settle in, maybe there's a way to do the leadership academy in like a 24-foot diameter yurt, and do the retreat in there, and then eventually move that yurt into the space by the castle, which was my original vision anyhow. So, the cool thing about life is sometimes when you have your heart set on something and it doesn't come through, then another opportunity appears.
A better one, usually.
Or at least, the universe is bringing things to you. It's up to you to choose if you're going to take what comes by. And that's what we did. I mean, literally while we were there, the bar that we were looking at was overpriced, but within a 24-hour period, it came down 20%. And
Wow.
that's
a big drop. That's a big drop.
It's a big drop. Actually, there was a screw up by the listing agent, and I kind of recognized that it was an opportunity to put a full price offer in at what I don't think the seller wanted to put it out there for. But then we got a chance to actually work with him directly. We went into the bar, drank with him, talked to him, and we made a deal. And the cool thing about the deal is that even though it's a lot less than he had it listed for 24 hours before, he was happy with the deal, and he's going to help us to make the transition. And to me, that's a win-win. You know, if we got a good relationship with him and he's willing to help us to make that transition, learn the point of sale system that he has there, how he's been, who his providers and suppliers have been. So that, you know, that's all really cool. And that's what you got to do. You know, if you can do transactions where both parties are happy, which is the way things really can be, then those relationships go a long way to helping both parties get what they ultimately want. And that's cool.
Yeah.
So you guys gonna have a
Go ahead. No, I told you I'm not myself right now. I'm sorry.
Not a problem. Are you guys gonna have a grand opening?
Well, the goal is, and this is, you know, I've still got to scrounge up some more money for this because it's about $500,000. But that's what we're working on. The goal is to have that paid and closed by the middle of December, so that really kind of our grand opening will be New Year's Eve. And we're going to party like it's 1999.
Maybe it
now,
is.
When that song was written, that was like a really exciting thing. Like, oh, it's going to be a new millennium, new this, new that. Now we hear that and we're like, oh, it's a throwback party. Like, think about how old that was now, you know? Like, do you remember 1999? Okay, hold on. Now, Brett and I are in the U.S. Ilse, when we were here, the 1999, what was the biggest fear? Everybody in the U.S. was talking about Y2K, and we were all going to lose technology, and the power plants were going to go out, and that there was the possibility of all the nuclear bombs just being launched at once because of everything. And everybody was so scared of it. And I'm sitting there going, there's no way that's going to happen. There's no way that they're going to let that get to that. Like, because that would mean the president is going to be someone that has to be worried about. And they're not going to let that happen. That means Bill Gates will not be able to create the coronavirus and have it be where we're, I'm sorry, I said that wrong. I'm sorry.
And that screws up the whole 2020s.
Right. And now we know how the 2020s started.
That's when guys like Jaybird went off the grid. They're like, screw this shit. You know, these guys don't know what they're talking about. Nothing's going to happen. But I'm getting the hell off this grid so that I don't have to deal with it in the future.
100%. Jaybird's like, I'm gone. Peace, guys. I got all my cryptocurrency. I don't need anything else. But let me ask you this. Also, what was the concerns in your country during the transition? Like, you're still wet behind the ears in 99. I graduated high school in 01. That doesn't make me.
I graduated in 99. I graduated.
See, so
you graduated high school in 01?
I did.
My daughter was born in 01.
Does that make me old or young, Brett?
I graduated high school in 1980. That makes me really old.
I was born in 1981.
I was born in 1983. So how was 99? Where were you in 99? When all of this was going on? Did you guys have fear that the whole world was going to blow up?
I don't know if the other people had fear. In 1999, so I wrote matric, and my dad was very strict. So after I wrote my graduated high school, I walked into my dad's house and I said, I'm going out tonight. And he said, not while you live under my roof. And I said, well, then I'm moving today. So I packed my bags and I left, and I moved in with my cousin. But in 1999, the New Year's we spent on the beach. We said that we had a beach party, so we waited for the Y2K to happen on the beach. Nothing happened. So we all just carried on. In South Africa, they only care about party. They do not care about the Y2K or any of those things. Africa's not for sissies.
I was in technology, and I remember that there were a number of systems out there that were based in the old COBOL world, which I'm not a coder. I just know that was old shit compared to what we use today. And some of these programs that companies had, they didn't always have 4 digits for the year because, just 2 digits was enough when you were in 1970. So they were doing 70, 71, 72. Well, when 2000 came around, all of a sudden those numbers, you needed 4. And there were some companies, I mean, they marketed the crap out of this Y2K stuff and made bank because of it. But there were legitimately some systems that needed to have some stuff done, and some of the code was old. So the people that understood the old code and could figure out how to do it, they were making big bucks coming up to that. And like you said, the world didn't come apart. Rarely did any systems really crash. So it was a huge marketing campaign. Companies like Pricewaterhouse and those guys made huge money because they just played on that whole thing for like the first 5 years prior to 2000 coming around.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. 1999 was the biggest, my biggest concern was surviving homelessness. Wow, Stuart, I'm glad you were able to get through that, buddy. Like, strong. 100%. 1999 was just a party and some computer clock code. Like, Jaybird's probably the one that fixed all of the like stuff. Like, knowing him, he's like a hidden like superhero. He just like, he's computer man, and he stays at home and he just like coding and all that. I could see it. I see it. But like, I remember 99 being, a lot of people were extremely worried. They were freaking out. I'm sorry, guys. My medicine's making me burp. But like, they were extremely worried. They did not want to. People were scared to go out for the year 2000 and party. People were scared to go do new things and be out there and doing stuff. For me, I look at it at what's going on now, and it's kind of the same thing. Like, people are, my computer beeped. I'm like, I have nothing open other than StreamYard, so it really threw me off. I'm like, but like, it's one of those things that I look at what we're going through now, and fear is still being used. And whether you're pro, anti-vax, COVID, Fauci, let's go Brandon, whatever you are, it doesn't matter. Okay. The fact is that fear is what's being pushed, and anger. And whether it's 1999 or it's 2025, which is coming up, that's going to be my year. I'm calling it, by the way, 2025.
Locking it in, Brandon. Lock it in. Let's go.
I'm taking it now. That's the year that Brandon like hits his stride. Like, he's like, yeah, no more of like, I feel like my life is like a treadmill. I'm always like moving and going places, but it never ends up going anywhere. And I'm ready to step off the treadmill and run a marathon. How's that?
Perfect.
Let's go. I'm good.
I know you're good. That's fine. Oh God, it hurts. My whole body hurts. I'm glad I'm not doing push-ups this week for the Browns, because I was going to tell Ilse, did the Browns win or lose? Oh, the Browns lost bad. And when I say bad, it was worse than the last time where I had to do this 500 push-ups.
Oh, geez.
It was bad. But at least we didn't do something that only 8 teams have ever been able to pull off in history, but the Pittsburgh Steelers did, with a no-win team, a team that hasn't won a game this year. They still haven't. No, they did not lose. Your Pittsburgh Steelers did not lose, but they did not win.
Them. Apparently, I know how to pick them.
But they did not. They didn't lose, but they did not win.
Was it a bye week?
Nope.
Was it
It
a
was
draw?
actually a tie?
Can you have a draw in football?
It was the first tie of the season, and the Pittsburgh Steelers tied the winless Detroit Lions. So technically, I count that as a loss.
Of course
But
you will.
From a morale status, absolutely.
Oh, Stuart's like, if you can run a marathon, you can do a triathlon. Stuart, I love you. I don't think I could run to the mailbox right today, but we can train for that. Like, it's not going to happen all at once. We train for it. I love it. Have dragon staff will travel. Brandon, run. LOL, run, Brandon, run. That's how I'm going to light up the way for everybody. I'm going to light the dragon staff. The Lions break their losing streak. So hold on, Mama Gotti, I love you for this because that's actually funny because the Browns went 1-15 and then 0-16 for 2 seasons. Okay. And then their first game of the season that we drafted Baker Mayfield, we tied the Pittsburgh Steelers. So we didn't lose, but we didn't win either. Only the Browns can end a losing streak by not winning or losing.
Because they got some talent, that team.
We're deep like that. We are deep like that. Oh, I understand that. Oh, so I say all that because I looked at everything we have going on, and we've had there's been a lot happening in our world lately. And I've noticed people are getting a lot more stringent, anger. The word isn't what I come to be, but like, Browns and Lions equally sad. Yeah, they are. Mandy Atterbury, it is so good to see you, my dear. The Browns and that are totally taking my brain a different way. What I was saying is that with everything going on, people are anxious. People are nervous more than usual. And I think people are hitting a stride where they're not wanting to be like that anymore. And I think people want to be able to we don't all have to be right at all times. It's just being able to separate ourselves and know we're doing our best. That's what has to come out. And when you know you gave your best, it doesn't matter like what other people think. It doesn't matter what other people are doing. It's about knowing you're giving your best and putting that out there. Like the Browns did not give their best this week. So as a Browns fan, that's why I threw up this morning, is I really didn't want to deal with talking about that. I knew Ilse was going to brag about her new Steelers.
You still owe me a shirt. No.
Do you know how long it takes? Mandy Atterbury is still waiting for her box of delight. Fernando's still waiting for his box of delight. And you're further than both of them.
I'll come and fetch it. Okay. Three
okay.
months.
And
I like
Nancy says, so what?
Wait,
Give
what?
me my shirt.
And the excuse is what exactly?
I don't have an excuse. I'm sorry. I don't have an excuse. You know what? Am I sending you a Brown shirt or a Steelers shirt? I forget what I'm sending you.
A Steelers, please. The Browns aren't playing that well. If you put that shirt on, I'll have to do sit-ups.
You know what? Just because you said that, I know what I'm getting you. I know exactly what I'm getting you. I'm getting you a middle school T-shirt, like from the middle schools here.
I tell you what, if you're going to get her a
T-shirt's a
Pittsburgh
T-shirt,
shirt,
baby.
get her one that says Bradshaw on it.
Oh.
Who's Bradshaw? Is that the
That's
rapist?
a good one. No, that's Ben Rapisberger. His name says it all.
Now forget Rapisberger. Go to Bradshaw.
Yeah.
Why?
Terry Bradshaw went from being a quarterback that a lot of people made fun of to begin with to a quarterback of the Pittsburgh Steelers when they were like at the top. And then he became a comedic actor who I think is just a blast to watch when he does movies and that's the uniform to get her.
So I agree. If I was to pick any Steeler, I would give her a Steeler. What if I sent her, ready for this? What if instead of sending her a Steelers shirt, I send her a Pittsburgh Penguins shirt and it's the what's his name? Oh shit! My brain just stopped. The greatest basket, Wayne Gretzky.
Is the Penguins? The Penguins, are they ice hockey?
Yes.
Ice hockey, yes. Even though you
Yes,
swung
okay,
it like
yes.
a baseball bat. Even though you swung it like a baseball bat. Oh, I love
I
it.
can
I
ice
love
skate.
it.
My dad used to work at an ice rink, so he used to take us when we were younger every Saturday for classes. So I can ice skate. I can't play ice hockey, but I can ice skate. Well, I used to be
Oh.
able to. I don't know if I still can. We'll have to try. Hey, Ronelli.
Brandon, I got Ilse's present covered. I'm worried about that. Only Bradshaw I know is on JBL. I thought this was a Sex in the City reference for a second.
Me too. Me too, Mama Gotti. Me too.
I have no comment. And Devil Dog has your present covered.
Ooh.
I'm intrigued by that one. I'm intrigued by that. You know?
What present are we talking? Is it now my shirt or is it a different present? Am I getting another present?
I'm not sure. You ask the Devil Dog. Ask him what he's
Mr.
doing. Say,
Devil
hey,
Dog.
Devil Dog. Hey, Devil Dog. What is your present you're sending Ilse? Like, and if he wants to tell you,
I think he wants to. I think he wants to.
Yeah. You think he wants to send you a present, or you think he wants to just go visit you?
I think he wants to tell me what my present is.
Well, ask him.
Mr. Devil Dog, what is my present? I almost said my president. What is my present? I want to know. I
think that's a fair question, Mr. Devil Dog. Mr. Devil Dog, if you're coming to the States, wait. You might wait, or you might miss your mail call. LOL. Do we know what it's covered with? Do we know what it's covered with?
What, my present?
I don't know. Hi, Lena. Hope you are staying warm in Sweden. It's a Steelers AFC Championship ball autographed by the team. No!
Yes, please. Yes, please.
Wow.
Yes, please. Yes.
That's something. Yes. Do you know what you do with that, Devil Dog? You drop that out the truck window as you're driving, like you did your wedding ring when you got the divorce fund. You know, it belongs in the same spot.
Let me just mute Brandon.
That's fine. That's fine. Oh, I love it. Ilse double hockey sticks for Jungle Weekend. Oh, I think that's hilarious. So, Brett, I have a question for you. I'm going to switch you and Ilse again. So now we're going back to Brett. This way I have fun and I keep my attention the best I can to everything with you guys. Brett, with moving to South Dakota, are you excited for just the bar that you bought, to the hotel you're looking to get? And what's going to be the next steps for the move that get you out there sooner?
Well, the next steps for the move are really just to be able to get out of the house that I'm currently living in, do a yard sale so I can get rid of some stuff, make some room in the garage, try to see if I can avoid having to get a storage unit, and to be able to more so really get things settled so that I know how I'm going to be able to still look after my parents when I'm up in South Dakota. Now, granted, my sister lives here, my brother lives with them, but at the same time, I'm the oldest and the one who has kind of been looking after things. So I just got back from South Dakota Sunday night. I go over to the house and it's like, okay, this is what's broken. This isn't working the way it's supposed to. I'm like, these are simple things, but my brother and my father are not mechanically inclined. My brother doesn't do anything about it. My father does something which normally causes more work for me to do to fix it. So I'm not sure which is worse. And really it's getting that together and then getting the hell out of here and getting up there, because critical to really the whole mindset change is to make that move, get that base out there, and then more and more opportunities will come your way. So a lot of times when you want to make a change, you got to make a move. And that move doesn't necessarily have to be out of your country, out of your state or out of your house even, but it's got to be a shift to move somehow in your mindset in order to be able to then recognize opportunities and to attract opportunities to come your way.
Yeah, I agree. So what are you going to do different with a bar? Have you ever owned a bar before? Have you ever ran a bar before? Mandy says she has good news. Go ahead, Mandy. Give us it. Kevin, we love you. Guys, if you have good news, spread it. We're spreading positivity and all that. I have something positive I want to tell everybody about in a few minutes, but I'm going to finish with Brett and his sexiness first. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, I've never run a bar. I looked at things. The one thing, this bar is really set up nicely. The guy spent a lot of money to make this bar look the way it does. But he's got a personality that has basically got the entire town saying, fuck this guy, I'm not going there. And they don't. I mean, it's a small town. And when you piss people off, you pay the price. So he's not been able to make a go of this business primarily because of the way that he's interacted with the people in the community.
What's going to separate you?
Guy?
Yeah, that good question.
The what?
Sorry, is he not a nice guy that he?
No, actually, I think the guy is all right. I like him. The thing is, you go into the bar and he tends to talk about how screwed up the city is and the Chamber of Commerce is and the mayor is, and then he talks about how good he is.
That sounds right.
Those are two different things that are received by the people on the other side of the bar the same. First of all, I don't really give a shit about you. I'm here because I want to feel good. Yeah. And secondly, when you're talking about my community and telling me that my community's effed up, you're also telling me that I'm effed up. So fuck you too.
Honestly,
the attitude that the town has.
That's ego,
unfortunately. But when I go in there and I start talking to them, there's a lot of people that enjoy talking about themselves, and that's fine. And I can listen to that. And there's a lot of things that he did in his life that was far beyond being a bar owner. Just like it is for me and my partners. Being a bar owner is not what we've dreamed of, but it's a way that we can connect with the community and give back to the community. And that's what we're going to be doing with this bar, is providing a different type of an environment. A couple of the bars there are very good bars to go to if you just want to get effed up. Our bar is going to be more of a little bit of a step up from that, if you want to call it that. It's designed, it's decorated differently, and we're going to maintain that. It's a bar to go to enjoy having a few drinks and talking to your friends, as opposed to going there just to get cheap drinks and walk away or stumble away from there after a night of drinking.
And that's all great, buddy. I'm honestly very happy for you. That's one of my gifts is I run bars. I open bars and turn them into popular places. I don't know South Dakota as well as you do now, but that wouldn't take me long to figure out. But that's great news, man. That's a great way for us to start our day with some positive stuff. I'm going to switch you and Ilse for a second, because I want Ilse to read Mandy's great news.
The local council have decided to help pay towards my rent arrears. Wow!
All right.
That is freaking amazing.
That is awesome. That's why I had to have you read it.
Is that not what we told her? Mandy, you see how the universe just gets you some cash?
I love how you stripper money her. You're making stripper money on her. You're like, look, Mandy, God's blessings are coming upon you. The universe says, strip it down for me now, Mandy. So, Ilse, you now have to tell us something positive. What is your positive thing going into Tuesdays? My brain is not working.
What positive thing? I'm trying to think now. My day is almost over, so all the positive things already happened.
Brett.
My positive thing is this actually happened yesterday, and it might not be a big thing, but it's a big thing for us. We had our first share from a stranger on LinkedIn on one of our posts.
We did.
Out of their own. Follow example and go share our post, people. Share our posts. Share our channels. Share.
I honestly, we've done a lot of things, and you and I talk daily, like literally, like every day. You and I send some, even if it's the weekend. You and I will send each other a random like, "Hey, hope you're doing well." And so I won't lose my home. Thanks you all for keeping me. Thank you all for keeping me going, Mandy. We're just here to support one another. This is what a community does. This is how a community uplifts, loves, and shares everything. And I'm so happy for you, Mandy. I really, really am. It's like when I've been down, or a day like today where I'm completely looking like I'm a drug addict and I'm not. Like all of it comes out, and Brett's shaking his head no. He's like, don't tell people that. It's not that I am on drugs, but I am on drugs for my brain. And that's the problem. Is like I was telling them before the show, my hands are shaking underneath everything. I feel sick to my stomach. That's why I had to switch away for a second. It happens. I'm speaking to people about how other things I can do to not be on my meds. And it's one of those things where I just want to be able to give my best foot forwards, because you guys all are putting your best foot forward, showing up like this. The sharing, as Ilse just said, is essential. Ilse, Brett, and I can share every day. But the thing is, when we share, the algorithms totally knock us out. Like we go from everybody seeing it to only us seeing each other's. And that's something where it's how the algorithm goes. So if you guys could help us out, this would be amazing if you could share us. The comments on YouTube are huge. Even if you're writing it one word at a time, like, hi, Brandon, and Ilse, and Brett.
The more the better.
Yeah, like I'd laugh at that. I would literally laugh at that. But like that is what we're looking for. And if you guys share that, we'd love that. Like you guys are amazing, and you know how much we love you guys and appreciate you guys. So I do have some of my own good news, and I promised them that I knew when they were watching I would say something. I have started talking with somebody, and her and I have been getting along very well, and I am seeing somebody. And look at Mama Gotti. And yum, hearts, like you're welcome. Yeah, that's how I text normally. Oh my God, you gotta go. Got you, Kev, bro. So I have been talking with somebody recently, and we have been enjoying each other's company. We have been enjoying it, and she's been honestly a very big cheerleader of mine, and I've been very happy with learning how to create boundaries with people, and she's been a very big help with this. So I told her that this morning when I saw that she commented, liked, shared, whatever, however she did it, I would be able to see it on air. I told her I'd make sure I say hi to her today, so she does know how she does play a crucial role in my life. And there's times where I'm in need of somebody to talk to, and they've been there for me. There's times where I need a pick-me-up, and they've been there. And I wanted to make sure I gave them a special thank you this morning, because it means a lot to me when people show up. Like I like all of it, you know, like we all show up for one another. Nice. And is she a fan of a onesie and a good beard? So yes. And to make you laugh, Mama Gotti, the one time I drove over to her house for dinner, she had a unicorn onesie on when I got there. I swear to you, I that was the first time I ever looked her in the eyes and go, wow, I actually like am so happy to be having fun with you, and you made me laugh. Thank you guys. I really do appreciate that. I really 100% do, because I'm not looking for a relationship, and for this to happen, it's just been interesting because, as she says, as I tell her, I'm not looking for anybody. It's going to happen the way it goes, and it's going to be the universe aligning it the way it's supposed to be. And if that means her and I don't work out and I move into Brett and him and I share a bed cuddling, so be it. I'm so excited for Brett
Be nothing but
because
spooners forking.
yeah.
Okay.
Could you imagine Brett and I'd be cuddling and we'd be like holding each other. I'd be holding him because I'm going to be the big spoon for him, you know, and I'm going to be holding him and he'll be like, is that a fork in your pocket or are you just happy to see me?
I'm happy to see you always.
Right? Like, I'm happy to see you too, Brett.
I'm
So
so happy for you with your good news.
Thank
You
you.
deserve all the happiness in the world.
It's been a busy few weeks and I've been very blessed. And don't get me wrong, guys. You guys have watched when down in Texas, I ran out of meds and we couldn't get it fixed. And I was dealing with the withdrawal. You guys still encouraged me and I still showed up. And then like getting on the meds, I was telling Brett and I were talking on the way home yesterday as I'm driving to my house. I'm literally sitting in the car driving and I stop and I'm in the driveway just staring out the window. And he's like, you all right? And I'm like, and he's on the phone. He can't see me. And I'm like, I'm okay. I'm just not feeling myself right now. And it's like, there's times where like, I'm going to trail off because this medicine, I'm not increasing it like they want. I'll be honest. If anything, I'm decreasing it. Brett and I were looking up statistics on what the average prescription is. And I'm quite higher than the average prescription. And if I was to go down to half of what I was taking, it still would be more than the registered regular dose of a person my size. So for me, yeah, Brett and I were looking it up yesterday. And I've been wondering why the last week my stomach has just been turned and flipped upside down. You know,
Can I ask you a question? Have you always been on such a high dosage since when they diagnosed you, or had they switched it up or made it more every time you go in and they don't see the results that they want? Sorry, I'm asking. You don't have to answer.
No, it's not like that. I'm trying to think of how to answer this without sounding like I'm complaining. Like I said, I'm slower. I'm slower on the meds right this minute. So I've always been on a higher dose. So when I was a kid, my joke is I'm the H in ADHD. And as a kid, I was so hyper that they had me on Ritalin and Adderall at the same time. And the levels they had me on in third grade, you can't even prescribe for an adult with ADD. And I was a kid. And truth be told, it's been my whole life I've been on meds one way or another. The first time I was ever not on meds was when my ex had the affair that I walked in on. And because of such a drastic thing with depression, like I literally felt they needed to put me on meds. But the meds they put me on, this is where my story gets fun, is I was on such a heavy dose of meds then. I was on 15 pills a day. I couldn't even like work. I would wake up at 4 p.m. and that's going to bed at 10 o'clock at night. And I had to just keep taking these. And anytime I said, I don't like how I feel, I'm sleeping, I'm suicidal like this, I feel like I'm failing myself, let alone everybody else. Like and my dad doesn't understand this. God bless you, Brett, and all these things. And my family really cares for me, but they don't understand the mental health stuff. And I wanted off my meds. I really hello, mama. Let's go, Brandon. That's funny. I was on Ritalin as a kid too. I used to fall asleep in class. And that's the thing. It's like, I laugh today because Adderall is like the drug of choice for people and they all want to get their hands on it. And I'm like, it does nothing for me because as a kid, I was on such a heavy dose. Like if I was to start taking Adderall again, like even snorting it, it wouldn't give me the energy that like everybody else gets in the focus. It really doesn't help me the way it's supposed to help everybody else. And as Brett and I were talking last night, my whole life has been meds. And to go cold turkey the way it did, like in Texas and Austin, you guys couldn't see it, but like I was shaking under the table, like under the desk. I was crying at like 24/7. I was sweating while standing still. It looked like I was going through a detox, and I was, but like it looked like I was going through a extreme drug detox, like I was coming off heroin or something. And Go ahead, Brett. I see you. It basically was heroin.
I mean, these drugs, although they're prescribed and all that, they are affecting your body the same as heroin and things like that. So when you're coming off of like the dosages that you're on, your body is reacting exactly the way that a person's body would if they're coming off of heroin. It's bad.
It is. It's one of these things where, like, we talk about drug addictions, we talk about mental health, but then the way we fix these things is by prescribing these heavy doses of stuff. And then how come when I say, look, I don't like how I'm feeling on the medicine, the answer is only to increase the medicine or give a different one? And it's like, I picture back in chemistry class, okay? You'd sit there and you'd be mixing things and it'd be like, oh, add this to that. And then you get the foam and you're like, oh, I made a volcano. Like, yeah, third grade. Woo. But like, as an adult, your body's the chemistry. And we still don't have all the facts of how our bodies work and what we're doing with our bodies and how they break down. And sorry, this is another thing. But like, imagine having like a chemistry set that you're building and it's starting to balance out, and everybody in your life, because I do these shows, sees the balance is happening. And then all of a sudden you decide to remove a huge piece of it and it just drops it. Like, and then we're just going to throw it back in. Like, my body feels like a volcano. Like, I feel like I'm popping. I feel like my mental health isn't there like it used to be. I would, what did she say? I would honestly love a lower dose, just by a little at a time. I told you my story about detoxing from methadone. I did it on my own and told my doctor what I wanted. Chemically imbalanced to more chemically imbalanced. Everybody's body reacts differently. What are the long-term effects of these meds on your liver and heart? Does that affect your reproduction? Are those concerns for you? That's a great question. So I can honestly say they yeah, Britt's right. They didn't even let you reset. And well done, Britt. Very nice, Stuart. I appreciate you doing that. The long-term effects of these meds on my liver and heart, mama, I don't think they even have that study yet. I've never seen anything about that. I've never seen them talk about it. I've never seen them push it. Brett, if you know something, you're more than welcome to. As for the reproduction of it, I'm not having kids, and that was something I decided a few years ago. That was a decision I made on my own, and that's because selfishly, I believe I have a lot to give to this world.
You do.
Respectfully.
It's not selfish to think that.
But respectfully, I thank you. But respectfully, I see what this mental illness does to me, and I don't want to. I would rather be Uncle B to every single person's kids. I would rather have everybody call me Uncle B than raise a kid in a house where when I'm having a bad day and I'm just needing to scream, yell, go for a run, punch a punching bag, whatever it is, I'd rather have that than having a kid that needs attention and I can't give them the attention they need because of me having something different in me. And I don't think I'm broken in any way. I don't think I'm anything bad. I just know that means I need to reset myself, build it up again, redo it. And having kids is not in my timeline. So I like to be called Uncle B. I'm Uncle B to a lot of people, of my friends' kids. And yeah. Sorry, I just read Devil Dog's comment. Mama G, Brandon will never stop reproducing burps and farts. Britt, I think this is a great thing. It's telling your kid, like, 5 minutes. That time out for yourself is essential. That time out is crucial, and it teaches boundaries and respect for one another. I do too, Mandy. I have to go to a yearly blood test to make sure my meds are not messing up my insides. I have to be honest. I know my meds are messing up my insides right now. Like Brett and Ilse saw me for the half hour before the show where I'm not like breathing and all this. It's like I'm literally sitting in the back, like wanting to just curl up in a ball. And yeah, I totally love and respect your choices to not make humans. That there certainly are plenty about. I agree.
There's
I
nothing wrong
appreciate.
with not wanting kids. My daughter as well, she said there's no way that she's bringing kids into this world. She doesn't want kids. And then she said one day, she said, I'm sorry, I didn't even think about your feelings if you want a grandchild. I'm like, fuck girl, I don't care. I'm too young to be a grandmother. It's your life. You don't have to have kids because I want grandkids. That's unfair to think that of somebody.
And Double Dog did ask me, does this mean no more full body hugs? B, just so you know, that's never going to stop. I don't care who I'm with. I will always hug everybody. I will jump into your arms, buddy. Devil Dog, you are going to be, when I see you, we're going to have to make sure we record how I hug you one of these days, because it's completely different than anybody else I think would actually assume. Hey guys, do you want to become famous? We can buy followers and viewers right here. We are. I just wanted to point this out to everybody because in case you didn't know, Wild Gust 421, because he's one above 420, wants us to know we can become famous. Just having some fun with that. B&B live on B&B live. That's funny.
Just bringing the comments today.
I love it. I love it. So Elsa, we might have to dive into our secret dash of interview stuff because our guest isn't here yet. And I don't know where he'd be. I know he got the email because we all are CC'd on that email. If you and Brett could actually do me a favor and communicate nicely, I'm going to email the guest and make sure they know we're on and we're waiting for them and see what's going on. And then you two, they don't call us bed and breakfast for nothing.
Yes, Devil Dog.
Oh my God. Taco Bell breakfast is better than meds. That's funny. That's funny. So I'm going to I'm going to email our person, see where they're at. If you guys can run this for just a few minutes, keep the numbers going and all that, keep everybody happy, play a game, tell them about your stripping aerobics. I don't care. Have fun with it. I'll be right back.
I've got some fun facts from South Africa. Do you want to know some fun facts about South Africa?
Absolutely.
They're interesting. They're very interesting. Not even I knew them, and I live in South Africa. I'm not a very good patriot, but in any case, let's start this. Did you guys know that the first heart transplant in the world took place in South Africa in 1967 and was performed by a Dr. Christian Barnard at Groote Schuur Hospital in Cape Town? Did you know that?
No, I did not know that. Now, was it successful? That's another thing.
It was successful.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yes. So the first heart transplant ever. So we're in the history books. I got some more. Guess who is the second largest fruit producer in the world?
The second largest food producer?
I'm guessing South Africa because of you asking the question about South Africa.
Brett, that was not that difficult. I actually gave you the answer on that one.
What kind of food do you produce?
We have got a lot. We do wine. But that's not a fruit. It's fruit in liquid form. So we do wine. We do oranges. I think we do bananas and things as well. I'm not too sure. I know we do dates. In the Northern Cape, they produce dates. And we are the largest producer of macadamia nuts in the world as well.
That's interesting.
And we've got the longest wine route. Why do you think all South Africans are alcoholics? Because the wine route's so long.
Wow.
It's the Route 62 is in the Western Cape is the longest wine route in the world.
Grapes, fruits, and nuts. What do they come up with? Wine.
And then South Africa is South Africa in size is 3 times the size of Texas and 5 times the size of Japan. And that's just South Africa. That's not Africa as a whole.
Right. Yeah.
And then we've
South
got
Africa's just right at the tip.
Yes, and then we've got the highest commercial bungee jump in the world, situated along the Garden Route. It is a 216-meter high and is called the Blowkrans Bridge Bungee. And that is scary. I have not been on it, but I have seen a couple of people that have been, and it's not for the faint-hearted. Runel comes here. Grapes, citrus, and nuts.
That's like a 700-foot drop.
216.
260 meters, right?
Yes.
So times 3, that's almost 800 feet that you're falling. Holy crap.
Bungee jump, yes. And it's beautiful. The Garden Route and Cape Town is one of the most... South Africa, let me just tell you, South Africa is one of the most beautiful places you will ever visit. Ever. Ever. Most dangerous? Ask Arnold Schwarzenegger. Most dangerous, but still very, very beautiful. Runel said she's jumped it before. I've jumped it. It's awesome. I know her as that crazy.
Whew. The only time I jumped that far is out of a plane with a parachute.
I've jumped out of a plane with a parachute before, but I haven't bungee jumped.
Nah, that one's going to make you feel like you're falling. When you jump with a parachute out of a plane, you don't feel like you're falling. But jumping, bungee jumping, wow, that would be intense.
I think they'll have to pull me back. I'll say, okay, I'm going to do it. And as soon as I stand there, I will cry until they unhook me and let me go. It's like, let me go. I'm going to call my mom. Let me go. Don't want to fall. I don't want to fall. And see now, all the East London Harbour is the only non-man-made harbour in the world.
The only non-man-made harbor. Interesting.
I'm telling you. Britt can go with me. She said she's going to push me. I need somebody that pushes me off and not listen to me cry. It's like, just shut up, bitch, and go.
Hey, looks like Brandon has made some progress here.
Made some new friends.
So, have you got the bio again?
Go ahead, Ilse. Michael, I'm glad you're here, buddy. I was literally writing you the email that I saw the link was incorrect. It was for the show for yesterday's show, and I noticed I was like, that doesn't look right when I hit send. And then I'm like, you responded right when I hit send. You and I were like going like that. So Ilse is going to read your bio, and we'll hit the sponsorship button, and boom, you will be on, buddy. We look forward to speaking with you, Mr. Michael Silver.
Today, we are interviewing our special guest, J. Michael Silver. I've spent my entire life obsessed with maximizing efficiency, studying and teaching mind-body integration, and understanding system theory. Personally, 40 years of mindfulness, meditation, martial arts, yoga, and breathing practices. Professionally, 20 years in sales, business development, and storytelling. This gives me the ability to offer a unique perspective on operational blind spots in the business development, project management, and personal growth. On a personal level, I work to stand on all sides to understand where people are coming from and where they can go.
Boom. Ladies and gentlemen, don't go anywhere. We'll be right back after a word from our sponsor with the Michael Silver. Play.
Hi, my name is Brandon. And over the past year, the Delight Cafe team and I have traveled across the U.S. researching this rapidly growing industry of CBD products. What we have found throughout the industry were products that were inconsistent in dosage and used ingredients that weren't even lab tested. Products with chalky textures, bitter aftertaste, and worst of all, confusion among the CBD consumers. That's why we created Delight Cafe. A 15 milligram lab-tested, all-natural, water-soluble hemp CBD powder pack. It's odorless, colorless, and tasteless. Add it to your favorite drink of choice, wherever, whenever, on the go. Quickly find your calm, your balance, and your delight when you need it most.
And we're back, and we are with Mr. Michael Silver. Thank you for joining us today, sir.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Who is that behind you? I saw you loving on them during the commercial. Hello.
That's my dog. This is Nico. And out of camera, out of frame, you can't see my other dog. We have Madam Lydia Bean, and she might get up here in a little bit.
Madam.
I know, Madam Lydia Beam. I love it. I love it. So, Michael, you have quite a resume on you and all that. How long have you been doing all these things and like doing all the trainings and all the yogas and all that you've been doing? What got you going into this and why?
Well, on a personal level, long before I ever got professional with it, it started when I was a child. My grandfather was a Jewish mystic. He was a Kabbalist, and if you want to get weird, he also was into lucid dreaming and dream walking. And I think Nico's going to lay down here. Okay, he's settled now, and into all of the mysticism. And so at the age of like 4 years old, he was telling me stories. And I remember a lot of these stories about, time travel and, folding time and space and kind of, the body as a vessel for an eternal spirit and all kinds of just, wild, amazing things that at 4 it was just like, this is amazing, this is so cool. So I just it sparked such a curiosity in me. I just always had a fascination with anything that seemed superhuman, anything that was extraordinary to the human condition. And so as soon as I found martial arts, I think my first exposure to martial arts was like Saturday morning or Sunday morning kung fu movies that were piped in from Hong Kong. I don't know if you remember those films. Now they're kind of classics. The Wu-Tang Clan has made them super popular. They've got their own channel on YouTube for classic kung fu movies. But yeah, I mean, all of that just kind of sparked my interest. So I started studying martial arts at a very young age. My parents were awesome enough to get me into classes and then yoga wasn't as big. So I was doing yoga through martial arts, and actually yoga is a martial arts system originally. They just took out the martial application a couple centuries ago or several centuries ago. So in studying all of that, and being flexible, yoga just kind of goes hand in hand. And then as I got older, I learned what yoga was and started doing it a little bit more formally. So that's kind of my introduction to all of this. And, mind, body, spirit, however you want to look at it, just even if you're not into the mysticism and the spiritual side of things, the science is in, mindfulness, meditation, breathing exercises. These things are very powerful, very real, can actually change your brain chemistry. So, growing up, it was innate because you just take it as a reality. When your grandfather tells you amazing stories, you're like, well, yeah, this has to be true. It was a pretty easy dive from there. And then, as I got older, the personal experience was what fought, the kind of Western ideology of all this is crap. Because when I was a kid, there was no science on mindfulness. That's really recent, last 10 years, 5-10 years of study. So 40 years ago, when I was a kid, and 30 years ago and 20 years ago, there was no scientific evidence. And I started professionally getting into this space, over 20 years ago, teaching dance, mindfulness, meditation, exercises, doing seminars for people of all ages. So it was quite the journey. And it was just normal to me. It wasn't until I started doing it professionally that I realized how not mainstream it was at the time. So are you guys familiar? I just been on a rant, so I apologize.
No. Familiar? You were asking, are we familiar?
Yeah, you're familiar with any yoga, breathing meditations, mindfulness? Are you familiar with any of these things?
Yes,
Well,
yes.
as much as we are, I actually want to run with a question on this one. So I'm sure you didn't catch the beginning of the show. My doctors have switched my meds, and I'm very open about my mental health, and I talk about it with people. And when they did this most recent switch, my meditation has hurt, my journaling has hurt, and my stomach is hurting every day. And I hate that. And I would love to know more about this and how we could do that. Because as I ran through your website and all that, first off, loved you in Mad Men, just so you know. I was a big Mad Men fan back in the day. But like, I like what you're doing, and I would like to know more about like being able, like your website says right at the beginning, nothing is more important than what is necessary in the moment. You live in the moment. You live in what's ahead of you. And I'm curious, how do you get the best out of yourself, and how do you teach people to do that for themselves? And then what is lucid dreaming? I wrote that down. I know what it is, but I want to talk about it.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, let me quick address the acting, the Mad Men. Thank you. Appreciate it. I've been also acting for as long as I've been doing everything else. I started acting when I was in elementary school. I was, I don't know, 5 years old on stage, and I was playing the season fall. I had a little stick in my hand to mimic that I was a tree. I had a piece of bread on it, like stale bread you give to the birds. And I remember the bread fell off, and it wasn't supposed to fall off. And I'm on stage, and there's all these people watching. And I was just like, okay. And all of a sudden, the reality of that moment just hit me like with a wave, like the attention of the audience, and the reality of the situation. This was not planned, and it was amazing. It was thrilling. And so, I delivered my two lines, and the play went on, the presentation went on. And from that moment forward, I was hooked. Like acting, being on stage, presenting, like that was amazing to me. So acting has also been there from the beginning. And I, to some degree, view myself as an actor first, and everything else, taking Shakespeare's quote from his, famous play, all the men and women are merely players, and all the world's a stage, all the men and women are merely players, and we have our exits and our entrances. And I take that to heart, so yes, it's interesting. And then, as far as your mental health, I mean, that's amazing that you're open and honest about it. I have struggled with being honest, with my friends and family, no problem. But out in public, I never wanted anyone to say, oh, you're just using that as an excuse. Like, I have ADHD, I have every learning disability, cognitive dysfunction, for reading, auditory. I had the SATs untimed because they're like, there's no way this kid. Yeah, exactly. So I get it. And, depression for me, especially in a business where, on the acting side of things, 90% of the business, if not more, is rejection. And as an actor, it's really difficult not to take that as a personal rejection, because you are the product. It's not like a writer who says, here's my work. Oh, well, let me work on it and change it. It's like, I am who I am. I can get leaner, I can, put on weight. I can't get taller. If you don't find me attractive, then, well, that's it. If you find me attractive, well, and those are easily pros and easily cons, depending on what they're looking for. So, I've dealt with depression. I've dealt with not being able to get out of bed, and being easily distracted. I mean, all of it, and it's ongoing to some extent. My depression now, if it creeps up, is basically I give myself the moment to feel that. I've gotten to a point where, okay, I feel it, I get it, I don't want to be here, I don't want to stay here, and then I consciously make a move to get out of it. And I also have previous experience when I was younger where there's no way I was getting out of it anytime soon. I knew I wanted to get out of it. I knew I was trying to get out of it, but the best I might be able to do is get up and sit in front of the couch and, turn on a movie or something like that. I got out of bed, and I would look at that as a win. So I was reluctant to ever talk to a doctor about it. I don't think I went to a therapist until I was already feeling pretty good with life. First time I went to a therapist. My parents have degrees in psychology and education. So, and my father, he's an existentialist. He's not like his father, who was a mystic. My father looks at the world and thinks, well, it's all bullshit. It's all a game. You live, you die. That's it. So what's the point of anything? Just, take care of your family. And he is a very positive person and an optimist at the same time. But, so I remember telling him I thought I needed to see a therapist when I was young. And he's like, no, you don't. He's like, you're fine. He's like, you've got a good life. You've got things going on. And he did not acknowledge what was going on internally at all. And honestly, if it this is another weird thing to talk about, on a real public forum, but had I not found psychedelics at an early age, I don't know where I'd be at all. I mean, it's really
Sorry, I got way too excited for that, but that's because that's what I talk about. Like, I literally have an article that I'm not sharing on air about a mom in Seattle, Washington, that was put in the Seattle Times about how she does microdosing and how it's literally getting her through her depression. It's literally getting her through. And I experienced that. But when you tell people this, I'm East Coast. So, and I'm Bible Belt. I'm in Cleveland, Ohio. So when you tell people certain things like that, they're like, no. And that's why I loved watching your face with the CBD commercial going on, because you were like nodding along like that's just different. And that's exactly what I went for. And there's such a negative criteria of this mindset of it through so many parts of the country. And that's why it's not, even though 89% of the United States lives in legalized of some sort state. Yeah. They still don't, there's still that very negative mindset of it. And I'm like, we don't see that inner turmoil from our parents to us is passed down from generation to generation. And then you and me are dealing with this. And Ilse, I'm not including you. It's just like, this is like one of my favorite topics. And Michael comes in and he's going to like entertain me like this. I jumped around like a little kid in the back of the school bus. But the psychedelic thing is huge, and microdosing. Like, I want to live on the West Coast just for that. Are you in California?
I am in California. I live in Los Angeles. Now, I did grow up in the East Coast. I grew up in the DC metro area. My father's actually from Akron, Ohio. So I grew up going to Ohio. My grandfather, who was the mystic, he was in Ohio. So I understand what you're talking about, and I understand that resistance very well. I have a lot of friends in the psychedelic space that are actually, out in the open. One of my good friends on the East Coast in Philly actually is an MD and a psychologist. I think she's got like a couple other degrees. She's really an amazing woman, but she runs a clinic called the Sound Mind Clinic in Philly. That is a psychedelic therapy center. They are a MAPS approved. You're familiar with MAPS, of course. They are a MAPS approved therapy center, one of the first for MDMA. I don't know if they are. I don't know where the trials are at, so I don't know that they can officially do that unless it's associated with a trial still, because I think of the way the legalities are still trial only, but she's one of the people doing that. She also does ketamine assisted psychotherapy, breathing exercises, mindfulness. She has a whole host of wonderful people that she works with, and they just opened up a center, an old home, renovated it for people to have journeys, and because they're working on doing psilocybin therapy as well. So yeah, it's truly an amazing world that's opening up, and everything's changing. The landscape is changing. I'm a firm believer. One of the things that I always talk about, I get on Clubhouse a lot, or I used to. I still get in a couple days a week to run rooms and sometimes co-host with other people. And for the last year, I've done a lot of talking in there on psychedelics and a lot of talk on integration work, mindfulness, meditation. I don't talk too much about breathing exercise for whatever reason. It just doesn't come up. Yeah, all that stuff, it's changing. And one of the things that I will say over and over and over again, because I don't think psychedelics are necessary. I don't think microdosing is necessary. It can be the perfect thing for an individual, for yourself, for me, for other people, but it's not. Nothing is necessary. And the truth is, at least this is my truth, and this is what I believe on everything I've seen, everything I've learned from every religion, every psychology book, therapists that I've talked to, and others. We are the story that we create. So the story you tell yourself is the reality you live in. And we now know scientifically that only 10% of our reality is made up from sensory information. So, and if you're a sighted person, if you're a person that sees, obviously, well, not obviously, but I believe that all three of us have sight. That means half of that 10% of our sensory input is taken from our vision, and the other half is taken from taste, hearing, touch, and so forth. So, but if you think about that, only 10% of our reality, of our perceived reality, is from this tactile experience, from this real, what we call real, hard, objective reality. 90% is completely subjective, made up in our minds. So if that doesn't tell you it's all in your head, the horrible the horrible people that say it's in your head, it's in your head, get over it. They're actually right. They're just insensitive to what's going on and don't understand the difficulty that it can take to get out of your head. So, a lot of what we need to do is figure out and map ways of getting out of our own minds. And, what I spent my time doing when I was younger the first time, and the reason why it's a little bit strange for me to talk about psychedelics, in an open forum like this, is because I don't know that any of my family knows that I've done psychedelics, let alone that I did them at such an early age. So I don't care if they find out, but it's not something that I've ever sat down and talked to them about. In the psychedelic community, it's often there is a conversation about coming out to your family and coming out to your loved ones about psychedelics. And it's a weird thing for me to think of because, I'm 45 years old. So part of me is like, who gives a shit what they think? Why should I tell them? But on the other side, I do think at some point in time, there's going to have to be a conversation because I have nephews that are, 15 and 13, and I don't want them doing psychedelics if they don't need it. And I found it because I was in despair. I felt by the time I hit 17, I was like, if I die today, it doesn't matter. Sure, I have hopes and dreams. I wouldn't have necessarily thought of myself as a depressed 17-year-old, but I was struggling with life. I looked around starting at probably 15 and saw the world was a horrible, negative, hateful place. You know, the Gulf War Part Two was going on. You know, in the mid early 90s there, and it was just devastating to my mind as I was waking up to, you know, trying to become an adult. I went from sheltered, the world is amazing, I have loving parents, you know, I have great friends, I travel, you know, I lived an incredibly blessed childhood. Regardless of any other issues that I had, it was an amazing childhood for all practical purposes. Anything, if I wrote it down on paper, you would say, yeah, that was amazing. So I went from that to looking around at the world and saying, people die every day in the thousands, hundreds of thousands around the world. This is miserable. Like, what the hell are we doing? And you know, that was a major component to kind of getting locked inside myself and starting down that road of anger, which led to depression. And I think there was maybe some depression at that age, but it was really the anger that was building and mounting. And you know, the normal father and son bullshit didn't help. The normal, you know, high school stuff doesn't help. And then I'm looking at the world and I'm like, why get older? Why go out in the world? Why go to college? Why try anything? Like, you know, I could go get shot in the street. I don't know. It was not fun. And so that inward journey, I spent several years using mindfulness and meditation and breathing exercises coupled with periodic use of psychedelics. And the psychedelics were fun because I was doing them primarily, you know, in small groups, sometimes by myself. And so there was a recreational element to them. But at the same token, if you take LSD, you're on a long trip. I mean, that's, you know, 10 plus hours. And so you have plenty of time to really explore the mental landscape. And that's what I did. I spent years mapping my mind and finding out, you know, who I was in all my different parts, and you know, how I felt about anything and everything. And I was incredibly fearless in that exploration. And I found amazing darkness and despair. And at that point in time, when I was really at the depth of my exploration, I didn't. Now, my parents would tell you a different story. They would call it my black period. Um, but inwardly, I was so entrenched and so intrigued by what I was experiencing. I didn't have time to let it ruin my life. You know, my family relationship wasn't great, but I did have some good friends. I definitely had some amazing experiences, outward and inward. Uh, Traveled, you know, I didn't have a car, and I still managed to make it to like 3 different states for concerts and parties and events. Um, yeah, I mean, it's amazing what you
Always
can
make a
do.
plan.
Say that again.
You always make a plan to go somewhere.
Yeah, you figure it
The
out.
universe just conspires to get you to all these fun places.
You know that when you're young, it's easier because you don't see yourself as having any hard, um, well, I've got to pay my bills, and I did have a job and I was paying my bills. My parents were helping me out with college and they were helping me out with, some of the money. But at the same token, like I had a job and I managed to get to my job and managed to make money, even though I was spending an inordinate amount of time in my head exploring and mapping my mind. And I would also spend time in other people's heads, which, that's a strange thing for, I think, people who haven't experienced that or don't understand they're experiencing that. But, if to give a perfect example, have you ever walked in a place, whether it's a family, friend, someone you don't know, and what they're experiencing, their anger or their joy, takes you over, and you are now living with their anger or in their joy. You are living in their mind in that moment. So, I mean, that's everything. And the people, that's why they say, there's a saying, you are the sum of the 5 people you spend the most time with, because to some extent, you were partially living in those 5 people's minds and they were living in yours. So who you choose to surround yourself with actually is more important than anyone realizes, most people realize, because you were literally living in their mind part of the time. They are living in yours, you were living in theirs, because whatever they feel, whatever they think is exuding past their physical being. And this is quantifiable. There are many experiments. That's Madam Lydia Bean. You can do all types of social experiences. There's hidden camera shows where people are sitting at a mall and they're eating, and someone comes in and does something big, loud, and extraneous, and all of a sudden you can see the mood change. You can see every single person in that facility, in that building, in that cafeteria, what have you. They just shift. Their body language changes, their emotion shifts, their conversations stop. They maybe become more hunched, and they kind of are looking because they're becoming more protective. Their body language is now shut down. So it's very quantifiable, and it can be somewhat esoteric to talk about when you say, "Oh yeah, I'm inside their mind right now, and I'm trying to get out." Or I'm inside my own mind and I'm trying to get out. But the reality is that's exactly what's going on. Our minds extend past, because, our 90% of our reality is created by our mind. So our mind has to extend out in order to, create the reality that we're living in.
Mama Gotti has got a question here. So I've got a question and then Mama Gotti's got one. So I'm going to read her question first. She says, what do you mean what yoga is? Can you elaborate? How does it change your chemistry?
So yoga, and I'm trying to regurgitate information. So, the definition as I've understood it is yoga simply means connection. So any and all yoga, and there's lots of different types of yoga, are forms of connection. And so when you form a connection to something or anything, whether it's yourself, the ground, your dogs, a plant, when you form a connection, it will literally change your reality. It alters your reality. And if it alters your reality, then it has a neural component to it. So if I do breathing yoga as a breathing exercise, there's a lot of different yogic breathing exercises, and you hook my brain up to neurotransmitters, which they've done a myriad of these exercises, then you will see neurological shifting in my actual physical brain. So if that's happening, then it's also happening in your mind, the non-physical part of your being. So, what yoga is or can be is a a method or a methodology or a way of changing your entire being and changing the world around you as well. So it's and to some extent it's anything and everything you want it to be. In the Western world, we look at it more of a form of physical movement and exercise, but that's only one tiny aspect of it.
Awesome. Thank you so much. I saw that you were at Burning Man, and I've with a lot of our guests that we've spoken to, I've heard about Burning Man. So I've got an idea what it is, and a lot of people say they have spiritual and mental, I don't want to say awakenings, but experiences there. How was
People have
Burning Man?
awakenings.
You can call it awakenings. How was
Yeah.
Burning Man for you? And have you only gone once, or have you gone a couple of times?
I've gone a couple of times. We had a camp. We did our first year. We actually performed Shakespeare on the playa. So we built a theater. We raised money, built a theater, and took 2 Shakespeare's play, As You Like It and Much Ado About. Or no, wait. What did we do? What was our Midsummer's Night was our second play, and we had an amazing time. We had amazing audiences, and I mean, it was fantastic. The second year, we played around with a couple different Shakespeare shows. We ended up taking a David Mamet play and a Greek mythology kind of, what would you call it? Compilation of Greek myths and into kind of a story form. And then we only did the theater for 2 years, and then last year 2020 was virtual, and then 2021 was also virtual. There were some, renegade burns. People went out to Black Rock and camped and so forth. It's an amazing experience. A lot of people. I have a good friend of mine. He's like, "Oh, it's been co-opted. I don't want to go. Like, it's not what it used to be." And it's not. My first time in being introduced to it was back in '96, shortly after it had moved to Black Rock Desert. I didn't get to go at that point in time, but the essence is still there. And in some ways it's become more focused and more of what it's always been, because there's 10 principles that rule the culture. And I'll, if I can pull it up really quickly, I'll read them, the 10 principles, because they are incredibly valuable, I think. Here they are. So the 10 principles, number 1 is radical inclusion. So anybody and everybody's included if you want to be. If you don't want to be, well, then that's fine, but that's your choice. Everyone gives hugs, but if you don't want a hug, that's fine. You don't have to get a hug. Consent is a big deal out there. Gifting. There's no money on the playa. So people, you can't buy anything. You can't barter for anything. If someone has something, and they want to give it to you, they're going to give it to you, and then you get to accept it or not. It's really a place to live out your internal monologue or your fantasies or your inner life. When you get there, they welcome you home, because you're home, which is why a lot of people are naked. Decommodification. So basically that means anything.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you said get naked. I was already. I'm sorry. My bad.
Decommodification is basically like, so if you have a U-Haul to get your stuff out there, you cover the U-Haul so that you're not promoting U-Haul. So you're not trying to commodify, U-Haul. Radical self-reliance. So it's like, hey, you're out in the desert, you're on your own. To survive, you need a certain amount of water, you need a certain amount of food, figure it out for yourself. That being said, there's a saying, the playa provides. So, if you really need water, there's going to be a camp that's going to have it. Someone will give it to you. But radical self-reliance is one of the 10 principles. So you're not living up to the 10 principles if you get stuck in a situation and you can't get out on your own. but then, the rest will come. You'll see. Radical self-expression. Obviously, you've seen the costumes, you've seen what people wear, you've seen the art cars and everything else. So you can imagine what that is. Communal effort. So then that starts getting back into the community and taking care of each other, getting things built. You can't get a 5-story tower built on your own. It's very difficult. You need help. So the communal effort. Civic responsibility. If you're walking around and you see trash, pick it up. And by and large, most people do not allow, trash to just exist. It happens, but I mean, there was one afternoon I was out on my bike with a friend, and one of the art installations was setting up this amazing replica of like a Dune, one of the worms from Dune coming out of the desert, and It was amazing, and it had like pinchers that were opening and closing. It was this amazing moving sculpture, and a piece of paper, like a big kind of like packing paper, the wind took it, and her and I took off on our bikes, and we went on a, I don't know, 300-yard trek to capture this piece of paper. And it became a game, and other people joined us trying to catch this rogue paper, this trash. And then we got it and we took it back to them. And, so communal effort, civic responsibility. I mean, those are all big things. And then leave no trace, is also part of it. So anything you bring in, you take out. So there is the organization at large. So anything left that, we, the campers, we, the community, manage to miss or forget or overlook, does get taken care of by the community, by the, people behind. Participation and immediacy are the last two. Participation is basically saying, hey, if you're there, you're partaking whether you like it or not. You might as well jump in fully with your entire being. And immediacy, and immediacy is, again, you're here, do it now. This city exists for essentially a week. We take about a week and a half to build. It exists for a week, and then maybe a couple days after the city disappears. So if you don't do it now, when are you going to do it? Which really is code for life. I mean, isn't that how we should live every day? With immediacy, like right now, let's do it.
And Michael, you say it, and I think that all right. So for me, I've never been to Burning Man. I was hired to spin fire. I'm an entertainer before I created my companies.
Very cool.
And so I spin fire, I toss it around, I spit it, I do all the fun things.
Nice.
But I was going to be paid to go to Burning Man. Oh, well, my friend was paying my ticket, and that's how we were claiming I was paid. But I was going to be spinning right next to the man, or the figure and all that. And it was my first time I ever was going to get to go. And then COVID hit. And I think that the commercialism, like you were saying, has happened. But I don't know if it came back last year because I didn't look into it or anything. But with it coming back, I hope it comes back and people are able to see the spiritualness beside it. Because go ahead. I see. Debate me. That's the point of the show. We're allowed to have this.
We're talking about building a new camp for 2022, and we'll see what comes of it. We'll see how that all works out. But the conversation around bringing people out is a complicated one. But while you're there, to live up, to keep in the spirit of the 10 principles, performers like yourself are typically thought of as, okay, we're going to get you there because we want you there to perform, to do the magic you do. But there is going to be some participation. There is going to be some civic responsibility and some communal, effort that you're going to have to put in. So if you're working with good people, which it sounds like, by the head nods you were, they explained to you that, sure, we're paying for you to go, you're getting paid to go. But once you're there, you're there, and it's
Yes.
no longer, there's no money. There's, like, we're going to tell you what you need. If you're part of our camp, there are certain benefits of being a part of a camp, which is
Yep.
why a lot of people want to be a part of a camp. And I always suggest, if it's your first time going, go as part of a camp, because it's damn near impossible, if you're not a real athletic, outdoors, adventurous person, to be prepared for Burning Man on your own, no matter how many lists you read. So it is a complicated conversation about what goes on to get to Burning Man, and how much of the 10 principles and how much of the spirit and the spirituality, the mysticism, that side, the non-physical, the decommodification, how much of that can exist outside of the burn. It's a difficult thing, but once there, hopefully everyone lives up to those 10 principles.
Exactly. And I knew about them beforehand and all that. Like, I don't want you to think I'm coming and I was just going to be like throwing paper to watch you ride around and go get it or anything. Nothing like that. Like, I'm like, there's Michael, go get the paper, like nothing like that. It's been a lifelong dream to go to that and Coachella, and just the experience of it and the atmosphere. I've been to many other places around the country where that atmosphere of no trace left behind. This is a community. We don't want corporations. Like you said, the U-Haul. We have a place here in Cleveland that's just outside the city. It's owned by the Hells Angels. And what's interesting about it is how this campground is meant to be, there's no trace left behind. There's no marketing. There is no commercialization. The bands they bring in, all of it. It's meant to be where it's a way to separate yourself from the earth for a little bit. Yeah. And to have, when people find out it's owned by the Hells Angels, it always makes it more fun, because then they're like, wait, what? That's so crazy. And it was a spot that the Hells Angels used to use for their connecting and their parties, in a sense. But like, it was so different, and it became this much bigger than what they anticipated. And it's like this huge campground now. Now you mentioned, and then I'm going to let Ilse do the last question because I see the time. I'm sorry, Ilse. My last thing is, you mentioned there's maybe people getting together to do something else. Is this something like a Burning Man 2.0, or is this going to be like its own thing? And then how do I stay in touch to become your best friend to get invited to your camp?
So Renegade Burn was just anyone and everyone that's like, screw the mandate, screw the bullshit, screw the, I'm not for or against anything that goes on politically, in that world. However, if we're going to say we live in a free society, then, we should have certain autonomy, but, communal effort and civic responsibility says that you should show up for your fellow man and, help them out. So that's a whole other debate for another time. But
right.
The Renegade Burn happened both 2020 and 2021. In 2020, I wasn't able to go because I was in the process of moving. My fiance and I moved into the place we're in now, and so we couldn't go out for Burn Week in 2020. We had friends that went, and they had an amazing time. There was maybe 1,000 people there. A little bit of art, a little bit of music, nothing too crazy. To my knowledge, no one that we know got sick from going. The Renegade Burn in 2021, this past September, August, was much bigger. I believe there's several thousand people there, having a good old time. Also wasn't able to go for work and some other obligations, unfortunately. Next year, obviously you know how to stay in touch with me, but next year it's the official burn is on, by all standards. I don't know how COVID's going to affect it or not going to affect it. But that's, radical self-reliance. You got to take care of yourself, whatever you need to do for you. But also at the same token, hey, I'm a firm believer, if, everyone around you is wearing a mask, I'm going to put on a mask too, just say, hey, if you're living in that much fear, and we're outside and, this is what needs to be done, then I'm going to do it. Because, I think it's the right thing to do to take care of my community wherever I am, because wherever you are, that's your community, whether you know these people or not. If you're there with them, you are sharing, just like going back to earlier, you're sharing in their mind, they're sharing in your mind, they're part of your community, whether you like it or not. So I could go on, but you get the idea. I know we're running short on time, so.
My last question is, I saw on your Instagram that you are a rock climber.
Mm-hmm.
What was the scariest formation that you've ever climbed?
Honestly, I don't know that there's any, like, unfortunately, I haven't done extensive outdoor climbing. I've done a lot of outdoor climbing over the last, 8 years. But I've never done anything like Half Dome or anything, Dawn Wall, nothing crazy, like that. So honestly, I would say the scariest was really the first time I was cleaning gear, which basically means you're the second up, the route has been set by someone, you go up, and as you go, you're taking gear off the wall and you're putting it on your harness. And then when you get to the top, you have to clip in to the anchor bolts at the top. And then you have to remove all of the gear, the rope and everything else, and then reattach it to yourself and reattach it so that you can bring all of the gear that you brought down with you. And for a moment, you're just hanging on the rock by yourself with no way to get down. If you drop the rope, or if you don't, do a safety knot on the rope so that the rope can't fall down, or if you drop a piece of gear, like, you can get stuck. So the first time doing that was probably the most harrowing experience, because you're up there going, man, if I screw this up, like, it could cost me my life. At the very least, it's going to cost me all of my ego. And, because it's like, okay, guys, I screwed up. I can't get down. So there's a level of pressure and a little like, oh, geez, I got to get this right. So I would say that was probably the most harrowing experience. And although I was only maybe like 60 feet in the air, or off the ground, it was dicey in that moment. I still remember that as like, oh, geez, okay, I had to get this right one step at a time. So, yeah, I appreciate you guys being having me on. I know there's a lot of things that we kind of touched on and didn't get into depth because I talk.
Michael, no, bro, you did great, buddy. Like, don't even apologize. You got into a conversation where the audience was having fun making comments. They were enjoying it. There's been people that have talked about Burning Man, but you brought a different energy to that. And that's what we look for. You're allowed to. This is the thing. We live in a free world, and everybody has an opinion nowadays, but we all feel that ours is the right one. And the truth is, that's why this belongs, is if you stay calm in every situation, you'll be able to have it be balanced and end in a delight, even if we disagree. And that's where I try to make sure, as my leadership comes out, that we bring that out in every situation. And that's why me emailing you, I'm laughing because I'm hitting send on the email and then it goes, Michael just emailed you. I'm like, wow, is he fast? Like, good Lord. But like, you came in and look, I want to have you back for not just the fact that you're easy to talk to, but you brought knowledge on such different ways and you had it openly. So I hope you don't feel you overshared. I know that you talked about psychedelics with us here, I know, and all that. So I hope we didn't make you feel like you overshared or anything, but we are very grateful you were here.
I honestly, I get, I'm a long-winded person. I did a radio interview for a play that I did years back, and I was with two of my other castmates, and we were doing publicity for the play. And the DJ asked me a question and said, okay, in one word or in one sentence, sum up the whatever, and the other two castmates just busted out laughing because they're like, me say anything with one little
With
sentence?
just one word?
Yeah, one word. Like, no.
No.
So, I mean, there's so many things that we could go back and talk another hour or more on, from microdosing, to breathing exercises, mindfulness exercises. So if anything, I just feel like maybe I could have been a little bit more succinct on some things so that we could have touched more on other things. But
do you know what? Do you know how I view it? Is I'm going to have you back on a Wednesday when we do our Wellness Wednesdays, and you're going to teach us all about breathing, and we'll do psychedelics together. How's that? I mean, and we'll breathe together. How's that?
Great.
So before you go, the way we end every show is we speak positivity into the world. You'll see how it's done. I'm going to have Ilse go first. I'll go second, and then you get to close out the show for us today. And we're going to let everybody know that they came to Delight Cafe, and you get to bring that delight that sparks their fire inside them today. Sound good?
Awesome. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah.
You got it. All right. Ilse, show us how it's done, girl.
It is Monday, Tuesday. I almost said it's Wednesday. It's been a long ass week already. Today we heard that a lot of people go through mental challenges and mental issues with what's going on outside and everything. And today I just want to say that you guys are doing your best, and that is all that anybody ever asks of you. So if you really just fall out of bed today, then well done, you killed it. And I'm proud of you. We've got a card out of my empowerment cards, and it says offer support and release control. And it says resist the tendency to advise and control others. Unsolicited advice may be exaggerate rather than alleviate the problem. Know when to hold your tongue and just lend a friendly ear. Have an amazing day, guys.
Well said. You gotta know when to hold them. You gotta know when to fold them. So, guys, what a great episode. Ilse, thank you for sharing the card with us today. And Michael, thank you for being here. You brought such a positive energy. You helped us get the day going in a great way. And honestly, I couldn't be more grateful to have someone like you start the day with. And it's one of these things where these aren't just nice filler words. This is what we do at the cafe, is we try to make sure that with all the stress going on in the world, there's no way we're ever going to be able to go hug everybody. So all we try to do is give a verbal hug by providing a digital platform to help everybody know they can find their best self. So thank you for coming on and showing us the best version of Michael today. I've shared your website on here, both of them. Guys, please don't forget to go click those. You can find all of his information from his Instagram and see him rock climbing, to his Facebook and what next movie he's going to be in. I heard it's Michael Does Dallas. I don't know. But at the end of it all, guys, remember to put your best foot forwards, even if that foot is only going to help you take one step forwards. Be the best version of yourself. Love, support, and show respect to one another. Thank you for being here today.
Thank you guys so much for bringing me and inviting me to be here. This has really been an amazing experience. So to all of your viewers, anyone that might find this, go easy on yourself. That, it's the number one thing, grace, the number one thing that we need to do, I think, to make our lives better and to make the lives of everyone around us better. It's just to be easier on ourselves. If you think about, the person that you most love and respect, even if it's not someone you personally know, maybe it's, someone, a celebrity or an author or, someone that's, long past, a historical figure. If you had that person in front of you and you were having a bad day, would you yell at them? Would you denigrate them? Would you, talk down to them? Probably not. And so why would you do it to yourself? Because you should love yourself as much as you love anyone else. So any amount of respect and adoration you have for anyone else, try to reflect that back on yourself because you deserve it. And don't judge yourself so hard, because that's what's going to stop you from being the most amazing, wonderful version of yourself that you can be. And you can live up to what anyone else has done if you give yourself a break and give yourself the grace and the space to get there.
Very well
Thank
said.
you. Thank you very much. I appreciate being here.
Thank you, Michael. Thank you. Stick around for a few minutes backstage. We want to make sure we thank you as us and tell you about a little bit about us. And guys, like, comment, subscribe, share, all the stuff I'm supposed to say. Do it because it made an impact on your life, and share to help people get the best out of themselves. Thank you, guys.